Called to order. Thank you for attending this committee hearing today, where we intend to tackle and discuss three pending bills before this committee. We will take up SBN number 969, an act to further assist Filipino migrant workers, which was similarly filed during the 16th Congress. SBN 1448, which seeks to expand the use of the Legal Assistance Fund, previously and similarly filed during the 15th Congress. And finally, SBN 1175, which intends to encourage lawyers, scholars to provide free legal assistance to OFWs. It is high time that we thank and recognize the efforts of our fellow senators who filed these bills, such that ultimately we will fully realize our collective goal of championing the plight of our dear OFWs. Before we proceed with the discussion proper, let me acknowledge the presence of my dear colleagues, senators. Senator Bongo, who is with us via virtual, Senator Robin Padilla, and Senator Joel Villanueva. Thank you for joining us today, my dear colleagues, and with that, the Chair declares the presence of a quorum. May I ask the Committee Secretary to kindly state for the record the agenda for today and the names of our guests and resource persons present in today's hearing. Committee Secretary, please read the agenda and guest list.
Thank you very much, sir. Good morning, everyone. For today's hearing of the Committee on Migrant Workers, joined with the Committee on Justice and Human Rights, the agenda are the following. Senate Bill number 969, an act to further assist Filipino migrant workers, amending for the purpose Section 10 of the Public Act number 8042 as amended by Senator Grace Poe. Next is Senate Bill number 1175, an act encouraging new lawyers, scholars to provide free legal services to overseas Filipino workers under the Department of Migrant Workers, amending Republic Act number 11641, otherwise known as the Department of Migrant Works Act, and for other purposes by Senator Tolentino. And the third agenda is Senate Bill number 1448, an act amending the use of the Legal Assistance Fund, amending for the purpose Section 26 of the Public Act number 8042, as amended, otherwise known as the Migrant Workers and Overseas Filipinos Act of 1995 by Senator Villanueva. Thank you. For today's resource persons, we have today in the Senate physically present from the government, we have from the Department of Migrant Workers, Acting Secretary, Undersecretary Bernardo Olalia, with Assistant Secretary Felicitas Bay.
Good morning.
From the Department of Labor and Employment, we have from the National Labor Relations Commission, physically present, Commissioner Leonardo Vince Ignacio.
Good morning.
From the Department of Foreign Affairs, we have here Undersecretary Eduardo C. de Vega.
Good morning.
From the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, we have Deputy Administrator for Operations, Ms. Mary Melanie Quino.
Good morning.
And from the private sector, we have here physically present from the Advocates and Keepers Organizations of OFW, or the ACO OFW, physically present, Attorney David Castillon.
Good morning, sir.
Sir. Also, sir, may I recognize those who are online, sir?
Go ahead, please.
From the government agencies, we also have from the DMW, Assistant Secretary Lolette Iliescas.
Good morning.
From the Department of Foreign Affairs, we have Ms. Ana Clarissa Briones.
Good morning.
Good morning po.
From the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, we have Mr. Jones Harvey Ilano Marquez and Attorney Sherilyn Malonzo.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
From the Commission on Audit, we have Ms. Mary Ann Monta, Ms. Rona Caneda, and Attorney John Tamayo.
Good morning, both.
From the Philippine Statistics Authority, we have Mr. Chidor Orteza, Mr. Samuel Brando Piamonte, and Ms. Romelyn Anden.
Good morning.
From the Maritime Industry Authority, we have Attorney Sharon Aledo and Attorney Dem Thomas Redonia.
Morning.
From the Commission on Filipinos Overseas, we have Mr. Rodrigo Garcia Jr.
Good morning.
From the Legal Education Board, we have Ms. Josefe Sorera T. And then from the Philippine Coast Guard, we have Lieutenant Sergeant Charles Guzman and Coast Guard Commodore Maria Criselda Palado.
Morning.
Ma'am, good morning.
From the private sector, we have from the Association of Licensed Manning Agencies, Attorney Iris Bagilat, Ms. Cristina Garcia, and Mr. David Ren Santos.
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning.
Good morning.
From the Joint Manning Group, we have Mr. Erickson Marquez.
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning.
From the Philippine Association for Maritime Employee, we have Mr. Jose Albarcato and Ms. Daphne Vargas.
Morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning.
Morning.
From the Overseas Placement Association of Philippines, we have Ms. Alicia Devulgado.
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning.
From the Del Rosario Pandefil, we have Attorney Herbert Tria.
Good morning.
From the National Seafarers Day Committee, we have Attorney Dennis Guerrecho.
Morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning.
From the Center for Migrant Advocacy, we have Ms. Sara Lopez, Ms. Nancy Gaspar, and Mr. Noel Ben.
Good morning.
Good morning.
That's all for today, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Comsec. Before we move on to the presentation of our respective positions on the pending bills, allow me to say a few words. Good morning, everyone. Again, thank you for joining us today. Technically, it is my first committee hearing to tackle pending bills referred to this committee. During our organizational meeting, I highlighted my desire in this committee's commitment to primarily devote our time and effort in the passage of laws that will make the process for deployment, repatriation, and financial assistance streamlined, hassle-free, and affordable to our migrant workers. Likewise, I mentioned that we will be focusing on laws that will make the prosecution of illegal recruitment cases faster and also the wise management of the Action Fund such that legal and other financial aid are given to those OFWs in need. With these parameters in mind, we deem it proper to jumpstart the passage of OFW-related bills by tackling the three pending bills in our agenda today. These bills, which are essentially interrelated, will enhance the capacity of the Department of Migrant Workers to extend financial and legal assistance to OFWs. More importantly, these bills will realign the provisions of the existing Migrant Workers and Overseas Filipino Act of 1995 with the mandates contained in the newly passed DMW Act of RA 11641. I therefore implore the earnest cooperation and assistance of everyone such that the passage of these bills will be smooth and will be completed at the soonest possible time. And I thank you. Now, may I ask my fellow senators present if anyone would like to make some introductory remarks. Any of my colleague, and I see Mr. Senator Joel Villanueva raising his hands. Major, good morning to you. The floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Chairman, Boss Idol Rafi, at sa ating mga kasamahan, kay Boss Robin, kay Boss BG, sa ating mga kasamahan dito sa Senado, and our resource persons. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Good morning. At the onset, I would like to thank our good chairperson for including in the agenda for today's hearing, Senate Bill number 1448, which seeks to expand the use of the Legal Assistance Fund. You know, last December 2021, after years of rigorous study, consultations, and reviews, we passed Republic Act number 11641 or the Department of Migrant Workers Act. Isa hong karangalan na maging author at sponsor nito. Isang taon na po mula ng ating itinaguyod ang iisang bahay para sa ating mga OFWs, para sa mga pangangailangan po ng ating mga kababayan sa ibang bansa. Just last year in 2022, we had 1,205,376 OFWs deployed in various countries, which is now higher than the year 2021's deployment of 742,796 OFWs. Hindi po natin makakalimutan ang hirap na pinagdadaanan ng ating mga OFWs, kagaya na lamang po ng nangyari sa ating kababayang naging biktima ng illegal recruitment at human trafficking na namatay sa Morocco matapos po siyang tumalon mula sa ikatlong palapag ng tinitira niyang apartment matapos ang kanyang mainit na pakikipagtalo sa kanyang employer noong ika-22 ng Hunyo 2019. Meron din pong naitala sa ating polo, mga polo na labor at welfare cases kagaya ng maltreatment, mistreatment, contract violation, or substitution, health problems, immigration-related concerns, sexual harassment, kasama na yung rape at iba pa. We recognize, Mr. Chairman, the importance of continuously ensuring the availability of legal assistance funds separate from the agarang kalinga at saklolo para sa mga OFWs na nangangailangan o yung action fund under the DMW. This is for the benefit of our 10.69 million overseas Filipinos with 5.11 million in the Americas, 2.48 million in Asia and the Pacific, and 2.32 million in the Middle East, with others are in countries in Europe and Africa. Thus, Mr. Chairman, to conclude, in line with the state's policy to afford full protection to labor, both local and overseas, we are seeking, with the help of the committee and all persons present here today, to expand the coverage of the Legal Assistance Fund to include all stages of case proceedings, from the time of commencement of the complaint until promulgation and execution of judgment, and all appeal levels. To note, Mr. Chairman, I think this is very important. We sponsored this bill in the 18th Congress and was approved on third and final reading with the support of our colleagues. But unfortunately po, I did not make it due to lack of time. That is why we are here again to advocate for the swift passage of this bill, as we believe, Mr. Chairman, that we need to further expand and extend our help to our fellow citizens across the globe. Again, we look forward to participating in today's discussions and come up with a measure that will ensure that we provide adequate protection to our migrant workers and distressed overseas Filipinos. Maraming salamat po at pagpalain tayong lahat ng ating Panginoon.
Thank you very much to my esteemed colleague, Senator Joel Villanueva, who is presently our Majority Floor Leader. And previously, siya po ang Committee Chair ng Labor at napakarami niya pong nagawa nung siya po ang Committee Chair para sa ating mga magagawa. Hindi lamang po dito sa domestic, local, kundi maging sa ating mga OFWs. Kaya mahal na mahal po siya. Marami nagmamahal sa kanyang mga OFWs dahil sa kanyang mga ginawang aksyon para sa kanila. Maraming salamat again, Senator Joel Villanueva. Thank you so much. And now, may I call the attention of our esteemed colleague, another esteemed colleague, my friend, Senator Robin Padilla. Senator Robin, meron po ba kayong gustong sabihin?
Magandang umaga po, Idol. Ang aming pong tigre ng Senado, Senator Raffy Tulfo. Magandang umaga po. At siyempre po, Majority Floor Leader, ang lobo ng Senado, Senator Joel Villanueva, ang aking BFF. Sa po ng lupon ng Senado, magandang umaga, at sa atin pong mga bisita, magandang umaga po. Ang aking pong mungkahi at ang aking pong paunang salita ay suporta po sa lahat ng mga panukala na ito, sapagkat alam naman po nating lahat, kung wala po ang ating mga migrant workers, ay wala na sa Pilipinas. Wag na po natin pang bulahin ang ating mga sarili sapagkat tunay ang sinabi po ng ating majority floor leader at tunay ang laging sinasabi ng ating idol Rafi Tulfo na kung wala pong mga migrant workers, wala tayong ekonomiya. At sila po talaga yung number one natin na pinagmamalaki. Kaya ako po ay 100% nakasuporta sa lahat ng panukala na ito. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay po kayo.
Thank you very much for those kind words para sa ating mga migrant workers OFWs. Senator Robin Padilla. Senator Robin Padilla, siya po yung senador ng MASA, Filipino, at marami po nagmamahal sa kanya ng mga migrant workers, lalo na dahil alam nila yung puso niya ay para sa ating mga tinatawag na mga bagong bayani. Hindi lamang po sa mga OFWs, kundi maging sa mga iba't ibang sektor sa ating lipunan ay nagmamahal po kay Senator Robin Padilla. At doon sa mga nagmamahal sa kanya at sa nagmamahal sa lahat ng mga senador dito ngayon, maraming salamat. And again, thank you. And is Senator Bongo present? Offline? Okay. Now, I would like to continue by first getting a reaction from our DMW Acting Secretary Bernard P. Olalia from what have been said by my colleagues, Senator Joel Villanueva, about the bill that is now pending na ipinapasa niya, ang pinapanukala. Ano po ang reaksyon ninyo, Acting Secretary Olalia?
Again, good morning, Chair, and good morning to our dear senators on board. Good morning to my colleagues. As said by our senators, Mr. Chair, the Department of Migrant Workers fully supports the Senate Bill 969, Senate Bill 1448, and Senate Bill 1175. Specifically, Senate Bill 969 will strengthen the protection of our migrant workers in cases where their employment is prematurely terminated without just cause. Mr. Chair, napaka-importante po ito kasi sa kasalukuyan, kapag po na-terminate ang employment ng ating mga migrant workers, sila pa po ay nagsasampa ng kaso. No? Unang-una po, nagsasampa sila ng monetary claims pag hindi po sila nabayaran sa NLRC. Kapag po may violation, nagsasampa sila ng tinatawag na administrative case sa DMW. Either it's a recruitment violation or a disciplinary action against the employer. Pwede rin po silang magsampa ng kaso sa NCMB kapag sila po ay seafarer, Mr. Chair. So ang ibig pong sabihin nito, napakalaking abala para sa mga ating magigiting na OFWs kung kinakailangan pa nilang maghanap ng justisya para sa kanilang unjustified termination. Pero dahil po sa bill ito, Mr. Chair, baka po hindi na nila kailangan magsampa kasi binibigyan po ng instruction na agad-agaran i-reimburse yung unpaid, yung tinatawag na placement fee. Dahil po hindi po natuloy o hindi po natapos yung kanyang kontrata. Pagdating naman po doon sa pangalawa na binabanggit na House Bill, doon po sa amendment to the provisions of the Department of Migrant Workers Law, suportado din po ng departamento ito, Mr. Chair. No? Importante pong ma-engage natin lahat ng stakeholders that are willing to provide support, especially legal support. No? Yung mga paralegals po natin, yung magtatapos ng abogasya, kinakailangan po natin ito. Sa katunayan po, Mr. Chair, ang DMW ay meron pong mga itinatag na MOU na sa iba't ibang mga universities at sila po ay tumutulong para sa pagpo-provide ng legal service sa ating mga OFWs. Yung Senate Bill 1448, yung provision naman para tingin pa yung legal assistance funds ay suportado din po ng DMW. Sa lahat po ng stages na migration, tulad po ng sabi ni Senator Joel kanina, kinakailangan nakaabang po sa pagtulong sa ating mga OFWs, no? Kasi importante po na ibigay po natin yung full support, lalong-lalo na kapag sila po ay nagsasampa ng kaso, kapag sila inabuso o sila man ay sinampahan ng kaso ng mga employers. Yun lamang po. Maraming salamat, Mr. Chair.
Maraming salamat po, Acting Secretary Bernard Olalia, DMW. And I do agree, yung bill na pinapanukala ni Senator Joel Villanueva is talking from experience. Years ago, may mga lumalapit sa akin na mga kamag-anak ng OFWs dito sa Pilipinas dahil yung kanilang relative ay nakakulong o sinampahan ng kaso, gawa ng kaso ng kanilang amo. Especially, I can remember way back, meron itong isang OFW, domestic helper, na inabuso siya ng kanyang amo. So hindi niya na matik yung pang-abuso, so siya po ay tumakas. The mere fact na pagtatakas mo, yung pala isang violation doon sa Saudi. So siya po ay ikinulong at kinasuhan ng kung anong klaseng kaso, mga inimbentong kaso. So nung siya po ay nakakulong, in fairness, may bumisita naman sa kanyang taga-DFA. And then after that, wala nang balita. Hindi na alam kung ano pang susunod na maging hakbang ng ating gobyerno. That's why she called her family back home dito, and then the family went to me and nalaman ko na para nakalimutan natin ang kaso niya. So upon my prodding doon sa mga kinaukulan, so doon palang gumulong yung ustisya para sa kanya. So nakikita ko talaga yung the need na para kapag meron tayong OFW in distress at merong legal problem, dapat nandun talaga ang ating gobyerno full force para mag-provide ng legal assistance. So napakaganda po ng batas na ito. At doon po sa sinasabi niyo rin, yung upon termination, I just want to add, it's another bill. I think it's being proposed by Senator Grace Po, 969. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Meron lang akong konting comment po dito in case of termination of overseas employment without just. Actually, the OFWs in most cases, in my experience, they're not being terminated. They are the ones na umaalis talaga dahil hindi nila kaya yung trabaho. Doon nga na pag-usapan natin before, dito po sa previous consultative meeting, na hindi po nasusunod ng kontrata. Nakalagay lang po sa kontrata, isang floor lang ang kanyang lilinisan, and then isang bata lang ang kanyang alagaan. Pagdating niya po doon sa deployment niya, ang alagaan niya pala 3 bata, tapos 3 floor ang linisan niya, kaya napapagod, na stress yung ating OFW, hindi niya kayanan, siya mismo ang gusto nang umalis. And then nakikita ng amo na talagang hindi nagtatrabaho, sinasaktan, kaya hanggang sa napipilitang umalis. So in this case, maganda itong SBN 969 kasi dati up to 3 months lang for every year of unexpired term ang babayaran. Ngayon, dapat the whole term. So ibig sabihin, kung halimbawa 1 taon po ang kontrata at in 2 months biglang naalis yung OFW, umalis, dapat bayaran yung natitirang 10 months. Kasi sa present bill, ang babayaran ata 3 months per year. So napakaganda pong batas ito. This is a welcome event, or this is a welcome panukala para sa ating mga OFW. This is a welcome move. So maganda po ito na nangyari itong ganito. Okay. Now, is Senator Bongo present? So we can have him say something? Okay. Senator Grace Po also filed this bill. Nandito pa si Senator Grace Po?
So we can proceed with the other resource persons na po. Ito po yung after DMW, we can go with Dole na po.
Dole. Okay. Okay, before we go to Dole, I would like to address Yusek Eduardo Jose de Vega, Migrant Workers Affairs, DFA. Kasi po, sa aking pong karanasan, palagi ko pong nakakausap, nakasalamuha ang mga taga-DFA. Mabuti na lang po, kayo po ang nakaupo dyan ngayon dahil very accessible po kayo sa amin, madali po kayo makontak. Now, I just want to get your reaction doon po sa pinag-usapan namin kanina, binanggit po ni Secretary Olalia, yung sa batas po ni Senator Joel Villanueva, na yung Legal Assistance Fund para sa ating mga OFW na para palawakin. Gusto ko po kayo kunan ng reaksyon at ibabasa nyo na po doon sa aking sinabi na in the past, nagkakaproblema po tayo kapag meron pong legal assistance needed for OFW na kulang-kulang po ang naibibigay na tulong.
Magandang umaga po to you and to all the senators. No? First, brief lang on the two other bills. No? Yung SB 969, Filipino Migrant Workers, we defer to the opinion of the DMW by my good friend and classmate, acting as SMW. No? Wala, except na napansin lang namin nakasulat dun sa preface na DOL is the main steward for OFWs and shall provide a comprehensive assistance program to OFWs. It's not DOLE anymore under RA 11641. It's DMW, which is the primary agency under the executive branch, tasked to protect the rights and promote the welfare of OFWs. So second bill naman sa SBN 1175 about encouraging new scholars to provide free legal services to OFWs. We just, of course, it's a good idea. We just need to clarify na that means legal services in the Philippines because they cannot practice abroad. Kaya nga meron tayong legal assistance fund. That is complementary to SBN 969 because yun yung para yung tutulungan sila makuha yung placement fee yung ma-charge again. So yun lang. Now about SBN 1448 expanding the use of the legal assistance fund. For the interest of time, I won't go. Meron kaming slides na we'll go straight to the point kasi para yung slide 3 na agad, yung slide 3. So we'd like to thank our honorable lawmakers for the initiative, this initiative, no, including Senator Villanueva. One thing we've noticed, those, hindi pa yung slide. Under our interim rules on the use of the legal assistance fund, we believe it's already comprehensive, though, because it involves hiring of lawyers, bill bonds, litigation expenses. Ginagamit din po namin yan. Kunyari, kailangan magbayad ng fees para kumuha ng witnesses or even sometimes kung may penalty, ginagamit namin yung legal fees to pay para makaalis sila, no? Makaalis na ng bansa kung kailangan, no? Now, about yung next slide po. About the range, no, we realize that the main purpose of the law is to include all phases of the case from investigation, trial proper, and all the way to the appeal to Supreme Court. However, Senator, no, isang ginagawa namin sa Legal Assistance Fund is to hire lawyers already under legal retainer.
Okay.
The Legal Assistance Fund is pwedeng gamitin for legal retainer. So, pag may narinig kami na kaso, yung abogado ng embahada o ng consulate, diretso na agad kasi investigation pa lang, pwede nang pumasok yung ating abogado. Kasi po, kung hindi natulungan man, it's because we didn't hear about the case. But otherwise, kung narinig na may balita kami from either from the Filipino himself or the relatives here, we take action through our legal retainers, no, through our lawyers there. So, while we agree na kailangan from the investigation, I think in practice, it's already being done. However, we defer to the wisdom of our lawmakers, no? So this happens. Next slide, yung parang. So the Legal Assistance Fund already covers all the phases, I said. So yung request for appeal, pag may appeal, it's automatically handled also by the retained counsel. And our Legal Assistance Fund is 200 million pesos a year, and we always have very high utilization rate kasi wala kami dinideny na legal assistance basta ni-request. Last year, we spent 215 million pesos. That's over 200 million. That's more than 100% kasi ginamit yung sa 2021 na sobra, no? And we assisted over 6,000, well, actually, exact number, 6,467 overseas Filipinos. Next slide. So, mag-request sa amin, we approve it within 48 hours or less. Ang problema lang yung submission of papers, ganyan, yung finance department namin para maging correct under auditing rules. However, kunyari, kahit na wala pang papeles, tatawagan na namin yung embassy o yung consulate, advance na inyo kasi darating na yung approval, no? Now, sir, this is the most important slide that we will offer, yung the LAF and Action Fund. Kasi po, the next slide, Next. We understand that the bill proposes to expand the coverage of the LAF. But now, kasi po, under RA 11641, Section 14, the LAF fund and the Assistance to National Fund of the DFA is separate from what we call the Action Fund of the DMW. The
Mm.
Action Fund is what will be used specifically for migrant workers. Gagamitin yung aming fund, LAF fund, for other overseas Filipinos, mga immigrants, permanent residents, mga kasal sa local mga estudyante, turista. Pwede rin namin gamitin po kung walang libro attaché, mga lugar na walang tawag doon migrant workers office under the new term, we will spend it. Pero karamihan naman ng mga lugar na maraming OFWs, so that's the Middle East, Hong Kong, Singapore, meron ng migrant workers office. So technically under that, that's Action Fund, not anymore the LAF because it's separate. However, we can also advance or spend that money even where there are labor attachés, so long as there is official certification from the DMW under the general provision nakalagay kung walang assistance available from DMW, we can pay for it. So we're now negotiating a circular how to do it, no? So that for the interim, kasi bago pa lang sila so they're setting up their operation. But hopefully within 3 months, no, kaya na ninyo mag-disburse ng fund na to. So what are proposed courses of action, no? Ang proposed course of action, maybe this bill can be expanded na hindi lang LAF ang pinag-uusapan, kundi Action Fund. Kasi Action Fund is the one for
Mr.
migrant
Chairman, with
workers.
the indulgence, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, with the indulgence of our friends from DFA, may I just make an interjection, Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, Senator Joel.
Thank you. No, first of all, let me state for the record that this particular measure has been approved on third and final reading in the Senate. I defended the budget of Legal Assistance Fund for quite a long time, the 200 million that DFA is talking about. We did not include the Legal Assistance Fund in the DMW Act because, as already been mentioned, it's not primarily just for the OFWs. And with all due respect to our friends from DFA, marami po kaming reklamo nung nakaraang panahon na sinasabi kailangan meron pang probable cause, hindi lang basta complaint, hindi lang kaya po namin ito isinasa batas. Kasi meron ho kaming pinanggagalingan na mahigit kumulang mga 100 complaints na hindi na gagamit yung Legal Assistance Fund immediately. Ang gusto natin, immediately available po ito, hindi lang sa migrant workers, pati na rin sa overseas Filipinos in distress who initiate or is impleaded in any types of case initiated in the foreign post from the time of the commencement of the complaint and in all stages of the proceeding and appeal stages. Kasama din po dito sa Legal Assistance Fund yung gusto nating mangyari at uulit-ulitin ko po, parang sirang plaka po ako dito for the past years. We wanted this Legal Assistance Fund na magamit to obtain not just bail bonds, but other kinds of bonds required by the foreign court, agency, or tribunal where the case is pending. So ito yung ating purpose dito at gusto nating tanungin din ang DFA kasi nga po, given that DFA will continue to administer the assistance to nationals and the Legal Assistance Fund and the DMW will administer naman yung Action Fund, yung agarang kalinga at saklolo para sa mga OFW na nangangailangan. Gusto nating tanong, have you finalized the guidelines on the interplay among all these funds and how they will operate simultaneously?
Go ahead, could you answer that?
The first question,
Jose de Vega.
salamat po. Senator Villanueva, given that explanation, yung para sa other overseas Filipinos na yung LAF, certainly we support this bill. Kung yun ang idea, no, na primarily for those under our coverage, no. Now, the legal assistance, I'm not referring to the fund, no, pero yung pagbibigay ng pondo para sa legal cases ng mga migrant workers will come from the Action Fund because nga.
Not only for migrant workers,
Yes,
but
that is
for
clear, sir.
or-
Yes,
yes,
that is clear.
yes. So we are going, right now, meron kaming pinag-usapan, discuss na circular, paano magagastos kasi right now, ang issue right now is that the DMW is not yet, not yet, still setting up no, yung operations.
Let's not,
So,
sir, I'm sorry,
now
sir.
we are
Sir, I'm
funding,
sorry, sir. Let's not talk about DMW because we know the mandate of DMW. I'm asking you as representative of the Department of Foreign Affairs. I wanted to find out how are you guys doing with the ATN funds and legal assistance fund? Kasi nga po, hinihintay natin yung finalization ng guidelines na on the interplay among all these funds. Kasi yung mga overseas Filipinos tayo, kunyari, merong napangasawa na foreign national, na abuso po siya. Kanino po siya lalapit? Siyempre hindi sa DMW, sa DFA po siya lalapit. Gusto natin protektado din po sila. That's what we wanted to happen.
we guarantee you they will be protected. No? So, nasa guidelines namin yan ng ATN, interim rules and, or rules and regulations on use of ATN. So,
That's my question. Have you finalized the guidelines?
for the LA, meron kaming guidelines for
LAF and ATN.
Yes, we have LAF and ATN guidelines. If you're referring to the interplay ng
Yes.
namin with no, that's under a circular that is being discussed between the two departments, and we'll let the DMW also discuss this.
Okay, sir, one follow-up question. What is the arrangement between the DMW and DFA with regard to handling the concerns of OFWs in 60 posts? 6 na po ito 16 na posts na wala po tayong Philippine Overseas Labor Offices or OWA. Ano yung arrangement po ninyo?
Ang arrangement po namin, consistent with Section 14 of the law, kami yun. The DFA, through embassies there, will continue to handle those cases, kahit ng contract workers. Kasi walang MWO eh. Kung may MWO, nire-refer ng embassy or consulate sa MWO. Pero kung wala, amin yun.
So DFA po yun.
Sa DFA po.
So, malinaw
Including the
po
funding.
yun sa inyo.
Malinaw pa.
Sir, how are you communicating the guidelines for access? Yung access po to the said funds to overseas Filipinos and OFWs. Yung what types of cases po will be allowed under each fund? Na-disseminate na po ba yung ganitong mga informasyon? For example, if I am an OFW, can I still request assistance through the legal assistance fund? Malinaw po ba yon? Kasi baka akalain lang, oy, ano lang yan, pang overseas Filipinos, excluding OFWs, dapat kasali din po sila doon. And then at the same time, what cases will be allowed? Employment-related, criminal, or civil cases, etc.
Okay, tama nga, makasingit lamang po. Tama nga yung sinasabi ni Senator Joel Yusek Jose de Vega. Kasama ba dyan yung pang mga Filipino nationals sa abroad na nagkaroon ng legal problems? At ano yung mga kaso na pwedeng sakop na tutulungan, susuportahan itong legal action fund na sinasabi po ninyo? Kasi ang pagkakalam ng iba ay para sa mga migrant workers lamang, sa mga OFW. So paano yung mga Filipino nationals sa abroad na nagka-problema legal? So covered ba yun at anong klaseng aksyon ang pwede ibigay at anong mga kaso ang pasok doon sa tutulungan ninyo? Yun po yung isa sa mga pinapaliwanag ni Senator Joel.
Salamat po. Covered sila sa lahat ng mga kaso, whether it's labor, criminal, immigration, or other cases. No? Kunyari, kinasuhan sila, tapos wala silang pera pang abogado, agad bibigyan yan.
Filipino national.
Filipino nationals.
Okay.
Kunyari, immigrant abroad. Hindi na migrant
Lahat ng
workers.
klaseng kaso,
Lahat ng klaseng.
regardless kung ano man yun.
Regardless ko naman yun.
Kasi meron yung minsan nabasa ko many years ago, including drug trafficking.
Right. Ang ginagawa namin kung drug trafficking, kasi maraming kaso dyan na drug trafficking. Kunyari sila po yung defendant, sila yung kinasuhan.
Kasi may mga times noon in the past na may naharang na mga Filipino nationals, hindi sila mga OFWs, naharang na naging parang drug courier, then sila ay kinukulong. And then, ano yung naging aksyon ng DFA tungkol dyan? Kasi hindi natin sila mga migrant workers, sila yung mga very clear, mga parang consider natin drug trafficker, drug courier. So ano yung stand ng DFA tungkol dyan?
Usually po, talagang bibigyan namin kasi malalaki yung penalty niyan eh for drug traffickers. Bibigyan namin ng access funds to a lawyer. Kasi sa some cases kasi death penalty yan. So it doesn't matter whether they're migrant workers or not. We're going to give, at saka even though it's lalo na dahil drug related case, it's very crucial.
So you're trying to say regardless kung ano pa man yung kanyang violation, as long as Pilipino sa abroad at nakasuhan siya, obligasyon natin ng ating gobyerno na tulungan yon.
Obligasyon natin at gagamit, kaya nga meron tayong fund para dyan.
Senator Joel?
Yes, Chairman. Tanong lang din natin, no? Kasi I remember during the deliberations of the DMW Act, yung DFA stated that the average turnaround for approval is 10 to 15 working days because the approval must come from the head office. We wanted to find out yung improvements after that, no? Kasi I remember nagbigay sa amin ng word ang DFA that improvements will be put in place to enable immediate access to legal assistance from either legal assistance fund or the action fund. Now, Mr. Chairman, we wanted to find out also because we are also aware of the transition period na nangyayari ngayon, no? Out of the pending cases din ng DFA involving our overseas Filipino workers, how many will be transferred and subsequently handled and monitored by the DMW upon transition? May we know?
Go ahead.
Sir, yung first question, sir, that was under the previous administration and the previous foreign secretary. Kasi under the previous rules, I'm asking yung, ang sinasagot ko po yung yung time ng approval, no? Under the previous secretary, gusto niya dumaan sa kanya lahat ng approval. Yung kaya tumatagal ng 10 days, 15 days. And I became the undersecretary in July. We changed the rules. We had a new secretary sign an order na it can come for mag-decide. That is why, and we can assure the good senator, ever since then, within 24 hours or 48 hours maximum, approved na. Day by day, week by week, month by month, we approved. Now, that was last year. Now, as for the second question, sir, about the transition, it's actually a work in progress. It's now January 17. And ang mangyayari dyan, meron kaming sineset up na with the DMW transition period na dapat within 6 months na turnover na yung lahat ng kaso sa kanila na pending. And actually, because they already declared themselves as constituted, tapos meron ng migrant workers offices, actually sila na mag-handle yan. Pero hindi namin binigla na bigay na sa inyo ngayon, kayo na mag-handle. Kasi kailangan may gentle turnover. So there's no one size fits all, Senator. So depende yan sa embassy at sa consulate. Nag-uusap-usap sila with the attaché paano i-turn over one by one, no? So yung mga kaso. But ang position ng DFA though, at least with me as undersecretary, is that where there is doubt kung handle ng DMW o DFA, we can handle it. We will handle it. We have a budget. And so
Thank you for that. And yes, sir, we are aware of that, and that's why we wanted to follow it up, no? Kagaya ng unang tanong ko, importante na malaman natin na may nangyari talaga. That's our mandate to ensure that we are exercising our oversight functions. Now, meanwhile, if you look at the report to Congress by the Department of Foreign Affairs, meron po ako ditong hawak na inyong report from January to June of 2022. I can note here that there were 1,278 criminal cases na concluded, and there are 3,863 criminal cases pending. 3,863 po yan, kaya gusto lang natin masiguro na hindi natin talaga napapabayaan ang ating mga kababayan. At gaya ng nabanggit natin kanina at inamin na rin ng DFA, dati po umaabot ng 10 hanggang 15 araw para lamang maproseso yung oras para i-disburse yung legal assistance fund. Kaya magandang development po ito at ibig sabihin nagwo-work ang Senado, nagwo-work ang ating mga senador para masiguro na this is working and ang ating mga departamento ay epesyente. Isang tanong na lang din po sa ating Department of Foreign Affairs. How many overseas Filipinos with criminal cases were assisted using the legal assistance fund? And out of the 5,141 criminal cases recorded by the DFA, how many were assisted by DFA per stage of the proceeding, o ibig sabihin yung filing of the complaint, trial stage. Kung meron lang po tayong mga numero.
Yes po, yung numero ko po, yung per stage, that will take research on case by case, no? But yung numero na natulungan sa 2022, 6,467.
Okay, Go ahead, Senator Joel.
Yeah, and if not granted assistance under the legal assistance fund, how many cases still proceeded with the subsequent stages of the proceedings at the own expense of the Overseas Filipino? Meron po ba tayo niyan?
No,
Okay, if I may ask a follow-up question. Ilan ngayon yung mga at present na may mga kaso pa sa iba't ibang lugar, iba't ibang lupalop ng mundo ng mga OFWs natin, yung mga nakakulong, ilan pa po sila at ano po yung status ng kanilang mga kaso at ilan ho ba yung mga lawyers, mga retainers po ninyo na tumutulong sa mga OFWs tulad na may mga ganitong klaseng problema?
can I be given some time to consult our records, no? Because nasa report to Congress yan ng second half of the year, no? So,
Check lang ho kayong data pa exactly kung ilan po yung mga OFWs natin na nakakulong presently na nililitis yung kaso nila sa iba't ibang lupalop ng mundo at ilan po mga lawyers sa retainers na ng ating gobyerno na tumutulong sa kanila, nakatutok sa kanilang mga kaso.
we'll consolidate reports, but we'll submit it this week or even within the next few hours or next day or
Okay.
two.
Senator Joel?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, gusto ko lang susugan yung binanggit nyo. Maganda po talaga yun. Yung foreign service posts have retainer agreements kasi with lawyers. Gusto natin malaman yun, particularly in areas with high numbers of labor and welfare cases. Idagdag na rin po sana yung gusto rin nating hilingin yung how many case officers and translators are there in areas with high case loads and are they sufficient? Kasi yun din yung ilan sa mga nakukuha nating complaints, no? Yung kulangan ng translators doon sa mga matataas yung mga case loads. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maraming salamat po.
Okay. Thank you, Secretary Joel Villanueva kasi puro Yusek nakita ko. Our Majority Floor Leader, at sinabi ko, marami